Like many of you watching this video, one of the things that caught my eye in the Necropolis teasers was the new Poisonous Concoction of Bouncing skill. As someone that's played at this point close to 500 hours of just Poisonous Concoction, I was really looking forward to this skill. After seeing the data mine version of the level 1 version of this skill, I actually got really excited, because having 30% added chaos damage from the flask and a flat cost of 6 charges per throw actually looked pretty promising. But unfortunately, that's not the case with the level 20 version of this skill. This skill is not nearly as strong. It only gains 15% added chaos damage, which is only 4% more than regular Poisonous Concoction. It also has an 8 charge cost up front, which means unless you want to run 2 life flasks, it's going to be very hard to sustain 8 charges without a ton of investment. Now, if that isn't enough to ruin this skill for you as a league starter, it's also very unlikely that every projectile will hit a boss when chaining. So even in scenarios where you have 11 chains, depending on the boss's hitbox, only 50 or 80% of the projectiles may even hit every time. While I have done some POBs that get dot cap, the actual investment to get to that point is not worth the currency or the time investment, and the survivability is just okay at best. And while I still might try this build later on in the league, trying to league start this build just seems like a bad time. I really hope they decide to make some changes to this skill, mainly to reducing the cost of the skill and increasing the amount of added chaos from the flask to at least account for the randomness from chaining. Historically, Poisonous Concoction's only really been good at leveling and getting you through maybe yellow maps. In order to get past yellow maps into reds and then into pinnacle bosses, you need a ton more investment in Poisonous Concoction than almost any other poison-based skill that is used currently. And that's why these changes don't really make that much sense. I'm not really sure why we went about making this cost as much as it does. The only thing that this cost is going to do is make it completely unplayable. On top of that, only making it do 4% more, but then also adding in the randomness of the chains, makes this build basically dead on arrival. Which is super unfortunate because I actually really wanted to play this skill, and honestly I still might play this skill. I have a couple of POBs that get to dot cap, but the actual investment to get to that point is not really worth the currency or the time investment, especially in a league start scenario. I hope this video helped those on the fence about league starting this skill, and hopefully you all have a great league start.